The Rita Cosby Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
And tonight on the Rita Cosby Show, everybody bracing for the socialist surge. We'll also obviously continue talking about the great Lindsey Graham and obviously about Iran and so much more, whatever you guys want to talk about. That's why I love getting the calls from all of you here on the Rita Cosby Show. Well, the DSA sort of official platform is supposed to be unveiled this week. It includes, get this, abolishing the Senate. What could go wrong with that? Abolishing the Supreme Court and the president. Defunding the Department of War. Amnesty for all illegal immigrants, even those convicted of murder. Abolish police and prisons. It sounds like loony land, but sadly, it is what these Democratic Socialists, most of them, believe. And they're going to kind of put out their official platform this week. And there's a lot of them. We talked about Maya Mandani. There's obviously a lot. If you look at, there's Abdul El Sayed, who's running in Michigan. That primary is coming up. I think it's August 4th. Then you also have this woman in Wisconsin. You've got, of course, in Philadelphia. You've got a whole bunch of them all over the country. It's like sprouting up like weeds. And this morning, you got to hear this one. This was interesting. This is the New York DSA chair, Grace Mauser, trying to explain why socialism is just such a wonderful, great thing. Take a listen.
Ultimately, at the foundation, there are so many Americans that hear the word socialism and they're afraid of that, Grace, because you have led Americans to believe that there's some effort to transform capitalism into socialism, to move from individualism to collectivism. Is that the goal?
So many people, even those who might not yet identify as a socialist or are scared of socialism as a concept, understand that what's happening in our economy now is not working for them. They can't afford their house. They can't afford childcare. They can't afford education.
But they're trying to get to the American dream, even if they're struggling. And socialism's platform is contrary to the American dream, to individual opportunity, is it not?
In many ways, I think we're trying to look back at what has worked in America's past, but also look at what has been successful in other countries. So things like what President Roosevelt put forward with the New Deal.
But socialism, Grace, has never worked, not in the Soviet Union, in Venezuela, elsewhere.
That is Griff Jenkins on Fox and Friends, questioning her very kindly, I might add, too. Griff did a good job. And here she is explaining why she's not getting along, the Democratic Socialists aren't, with the mainstream Democrats. There clearly is a Democratic civil war. And she even brings up Hakeem Jeffries. He's the House Minority Leader who hopes to become the House Majority Leader if the Democrats take the House, which they hopefully won't. Because then that means these Democratic Socialists will really be ruling the roost, which is a frightening premise, not just for the Democratic Party, but for America. Listen to what she had to say about the ire she has for Hakeem Jeffries.
I would argue the opposite in many ways. Minority Leader Jeffries and other pundits who have made these comments treat us as a hostile force. But the reality is that we're very serious about winning, which is why we often run in Democratic primaries. But we're also very serious about governing. And that means creating allyships, creating partnerships, building coalition with people who are excited about the type of economic populism that we put forward, and building allies like perhaps Governor Newsom, if he's interested in things like universal health care, reduced cost child care, affordable housing. These are things that we want to do because our primary goal is improving American lives.
Does that sound like improving American lives, abolish police, abolish prisons, amnesty for illegal immigrants, including murderers and rapists? Somehow that doesn't sound like sunshine and cupcakes to me. And here is Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib, Democrat of Michigan, because she epitomizes, I think, what's wrong with the Democratic Socialists of America. It's like this anti-American strain. It's really scary. Very, very scary. We've seen this sort of with some of these other candidates that have won in other races across the country, including in New York, too. Clearly, how about the woman who wiped her hands with the American flag? That was really respectful of our great red, white, and blue. Well, here is Rashida Tlaib, Democrat of Michigan. I think this was maybe a few months ago or so. And this is what she had to say. Basically, America's a racist country and we need to change it. This is how she feels about our nation.
Look at this room's mother. We ain't going anywhere. Political structures that I have to work in, that we are surrounded by, was built on slavery and genocide and rape and oppression. Real change doesn't come from the cowards and warmongers in Congress. It comes from the streets. It comes from all of us mobilizing and seizing the power to resist and fight back.
And here is James Carville. This is Cut 42, and this is James Carville. He's one of the few Democrats. He's kind of loony-kazoony, as we've heard of late. But in just the last few days, he's actually speaking out against the Democratic Socialists. He's sort of now the voice of reason, if you will. Listen to this, because he said these people are not part of the Democratic Party. He's worried what it means, not just to the Democratic Party, but to America, and feels that they're going to be the demise, because Americans are looking at it going, these people are not common sense. It's common sense versus crazy. And some of these people with some of the philosophies that I just mentioned to you, they're downright dangerous. This is not like, oh, this is great for the working class. Working class, I think working class likes prisons. I think working class likes safety and security. I think working class likes to know we have a strong military. They care about this country. And I'm not sure about the Democratic Socialists if they do. And here is James Carville with a little bit of ire, finally speaking out about the DSA. But guess what? Remember, he's not in Congress. He's a pundit. He's not in office. It seems like everybody who's in office is folding like a cheap suit. But here is James Carville.
But it's the Democrats' fault. It's the corporate Democrats. It's all because the Democrats listen to Al Gore, some like that. These people are so stupid, I don't know what to say about it. So now we have this idea that these insurgent Democrats, and what is their solution? Is their solution to beat Republicans, to run against Republicans? No. Their solution is to beat Democrats. Like they're part of the problem. No, you are part of the problem because you're an idiot. And you just believe that pablum nonsense that drifts around the left wing, I don't know, whatever sphere, blogosphere, atmosphere, thought sphere, or whatever sphere they got.
Let's go to your calls, guys. 1-800-848-9222. 1-800-848-9222. Let's start with Mike in the Lower East Side, line 1. Go ahead, Mike. Your thoughts tonight.
How are you, Rita? Yeah, since Lindsey Graham was a peacemaker and a good man, maybe we can ask the Ukrainians and the Russians to have a truce for like 40 days until his soul is still with us. And, that'll show a little respect for the man and plus save a few thousand lives.
I love the idea. Sadly, I don't see Putin adhering to that deal. Obviously, Zelensky had a lot of respect for Lindsey Graham, and he was courageous. And in fact, he was a big fighter against Russia. He said, we got to defend Ukraine. We got to do this. He was constantly in the president's ear about that. So I don't think Russia's going to do any sort of sign of peace or any sort of tribute to Lindsey Graham. And in fact, Iran had this commentator over the weekend, Mike, which was really despicable, where they were essentially saying, thank goodness this happened to Lindsey Graham. I mean, it was so horrible and so shocking. And sadly, they're not alone. Let's play, this is Cut 21. And I want to play this for you, Mike, because this really was unseemly. We talked about sort of what Iran did. I haven't seen the Russia reactions, probably similar to Iran, as disgraceful as they are. And here is actress Margaret Cho, comedian. This is what she actually put on social media after the passing of the great Lindsey Graham.
Bye, Lindsey. Bye, Lindsey Graham. From the closet to the coffin. Real seamless. Real seamless. Also, yeah, Mitch McConnell. So it's Mitch McConnell, Lindsey Graham. It does happen in threes. Hope.
How disgusting is that? It happens in threes? She's talking about the president, too? I mean, how disgraceful. Right after he passes, essentially, she puts that up. It's like, remember these people were saying these crazy things after Charlie Kirk? It's like the same thing again after Lindsey Graham. I mean, how could they not be in mourning as opposed to, oh, sorry, see ya? These people are evil. And here is Jennifer Welsh. She's a former reality star. She has a liberal progressive podcast, and she went after Lindsey Graham, too. Take a listen.
This is a moment for the Democrats to wholly start attacking. You might say, attack after Lindsey Graham's death. This is the fight of our lives. Yes, you say, here's a man who every single day preached family values and anti-gay rhetoric and talked about the killing of civilians, was a homicidal war criminal out the wazoo. And now we know, and as we've known for a long time, that he likes to put on red panties and kink around with sex workers, which, listen, I don't give a shit. I'm not some Christian prude that wants to be involved in the sex lives of everybody else. But the Katie Millers, the Stephen Millers, the Lindsey Grahams, and all of these people are that. And we need to start calling out the hypocrisy.
What a disgusting comment. What a disgusting, gross comment. And here's a little bit more from the guy who said America deserved 9/11, Hassan Piker.
I'll start off by saying Lindsey Graham, in a long list of demonic entities, was exceptionally bloodthirsty. A bloodthirsty, odious monster who loved war. There was never a war that Lindsey Graham did not fall in love with. Mr. Ladybug himself. And the ultimate irony of the situation is that he achieved him and his best friend John McCain's dream of bombing Iran. He finally got to do it. And yet, the only thing he saw in the aftermath of achieving his dream, suffering from his success, was the spectacular failure it turned into in his final days. He watched the United States' century of force projection capabilities collapse.
That's amazing. That's amazing when you hear that. That's amazing. I think we interrupted him because it was a long pause. Can we go back to where it was? All right. Well, that's okay. We heard enough of him anyway. 1-800-848-9222. Thank you, Matt, please. 1-800-848-9222. It's these long pauses. Like it feels like it's the end. You hope it's the end, and then it keeps going. Let's go to Jacob in New Jersey, line 5. Go ahead, Jacob, your thoughts.
Yes, hi. How are you, Rita? You mentioned before that like these the DSA characters are loony and that type of thing. To me, loony is really not the word. These people are thoroughly evil. They are the evil of the world today. And it's disgusting and nauseating to have to... Who
are you talking about, the DSA, venom. The Democratic Socialists,
the
right?
DSA,
okay, yeah.
Yeah, the Democratic Socialists and Piker and people that don't deserve to have their names mentioned. But I feel like it's kind of cheapening to call them loony or to call them crazy. Unfortunately, they're not crazy. They are
calculating. Calculating.
Yeah, they're the evil side of the world, and it's terrifying, and it's incumbent on us, to strengthen our good to fight them. But it's not a simple thing, and I feel like there's nothing loony about them. They're very sinister.
Yeah, no, that's an interesting point because it is a very calculated, very determined, very orchestrated, and even crazy Graham Plattner. When he gave his stepping down withdrawal speech, he says, I'm still going to fight for the things I believe in. Medicare for all, medical health for all, and AIPAC. We're going to go after AIPAC in Israel. What does that have to do? Those are not the two top issues that Americans care about. Healthcare is important, obviously. But AIPAC, this Jewish lobbying group, but that's what they're thinking. That's why everything is anti-Israel, and that's a big concern. I agree. I think calculating is a good word, and sinister, too, in a lot of ways, too, also. Jacob, thanks so much. Everybody, we'll continue with your calls right after the break.
The Rita Cosby Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. This is the Rita Cosby Show.
And let's continue with your calls. Let's go to Jerry in Pennsylvania, line 5. Jerry, your thoughts tonight?
Well, Rita, I think that a lot of discussion I hear seems to miss the mark about something to do with the troops in Iran, the Iranian troops of all different types they have quite a large amount of people that are armed and are paramilitary and are military men like we would consider fighters. And they're very dispersed in the civilian population. They are civilian military people / military. They live in apartments with their families. They don't live on bases. They're all over the place.
So how do we take them out? Jerry, you bring up a great point. You're right, because President Trump doesn't want to see. And Jerry, do me a favor. Hold on, because we got to go to a hard break. But I do want to hear your thoughts, because you're right. They're integrated in, the civilian population and apartment buildings and elsewhere. So how do we take them out? Specifically, the IRGC, the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps. Those are those hardcore lunatics. Jerry, we'll be right back.
The Rita Cosby Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. Rita Cosby is on.
And we will continue with Jerry in one moment from Pennsylvania. Hang in there, Jerry. We'll be right back with you. Meantime, this is President Trump talking, telling the American public, be patient. It has not been that long since his battle with Iran. Here it is.
Do you think a deal is still possible? Do you think they'll return to that?
Yeah, I think a deal is possible. Sure, I do.
But, Mr. President, you noted the United States is bombing Iran again. I mean, you've been bombing Iran for months now. Is this just the new normal for the American people?
Well, we're in Vietnam for 19 years. We're here for 4 months. So I think we've done a lot. We've knocked out their Navy in a period of 1 month. We knocked out their Air Force. Their Air Force is non-existent. We knocked out most of their missiles, most of their drones. We knocked out their drone manufacturing capability, about 92%. Their missile capability for manufacturing, we knocked out 89%. And they have a little capability, but they don't have any capability for us. This is almost a military skirmish. Now, with all of that being said, you have to get people that want to make something. We had a deal with them 2 days ago, and then they said, we can't make that deal. We have to negotiate it further. And this is what they've done for 47 years. The difference is nobody negotiated like I do.
And speaking of Iran, Lindsey Graham, who passed away this weekend, and boy, he will be missed. He was a big advisor to President Trump and somebody who was very supportive of going full throttle against Iran. Here is Anna Navarro of The View, who couldn't wait to trash Lindsey Graham. Listen to what she said.
Look, for me, there was a Lindsey before Trump and a Lindsey after Trump. There were, two completely different Lindseys. And this brought out all sorts of feelings in me because, honestly, I felt like I had buried Lindsey when John McCain died because he became just a completely different person. And I get it. I get it that people are brokenhearted. I'm brokenhearted. I get it that people were disappointed in him. I'm disappointed in him.
I mean, come on. To say he's two different Lindseys. He has always been a big defender of freedom and a big supporter of these strikes on Iran and defending Israel. Let's go back to Jerry in Pennsylvania. Now, Jerry, right before the break, we were talking about the fact that you were saying, and you brought up a great point, Jerry, that, these hardened IRGC folks, these Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps guys, they're entrenched in society there. And President Trump does not want civilian casualties. He's going to try to avoid that at all costs. So how do you get these guys, given the fact, like you said, they're living in big apartment buildings, they're all over the country. They do have some barracks and things. I still think there's some number of locations they can hit. But how do you get them then?
Okay. I don't think you can get them. And I don't think so. So you would have to put a severe amount for Iran, which is a very big country with a lot of military guys, you have to put a severe amount of boots on the ground. We certainly don't have the political will, and our electorate's not going to put up with it.
I agree.
It would be a heck of a war. Now, can we militarily win it? Yes, but the cost would be severely high because the Iranians have so many IED bombs, they have so many booby traps, they have so many rocket grenade launchers and shoulder missile launchers and AK-47s, and so many people that are military/civilians that are armed and know how to use these things, and they know the terrain and they know the locations and the locales. And we're just going to be sitting ducks, and it's just going to be a repeat of what we have already saw in Afghanistan and Iraq, only unfortunately it would be far worse for everyone, for them and for us.
So what do we do, Jerry? You can't just walk away.
Right. So the second thing is what you and I think his name was Robert was speaking about, and what a lot of people think might happen, that we're going to try to seize, which we should be able to do, that this is true, take control of some of their main assets, etc. But once we do that, maintaining it and defending it is going to be a severe task with boots on the ground. And we're going to be sitting ducks. They're going to know exactly where we are. We're defending what we took. And they're going to be dispersed all around us. And they're going to come at us every day like hornets. And they're going to go back to their places and come at us and keep hitting. And that's going to be the problem. And so that may not turn out to be so good either. So
then what do we do?
So we're left with a choice of not really succeeding here or doing what a lot of us think is the unthinkable, really not worrying about civilian casualties at all and finishing them off. No matter who they are, they're the enemy. Like we once used to think of people, we didn't worry about civilian casualties in a lot of our former endeavors, particularly World War II, as we saw when we dropped atomic bombs. We certainly didn't worry about civilian casualties. We came first. So I don't know where we're at mentally. I don't think we have anyone in the country comparably like we once had that think like that any longer. So that seems horrific to most Americans. So that attitude that I just was saying that we once had. So I think Trump, as great of a president as he's been, and he's been one heck of a great president, he certainly has very good intentions, great intentions. I think he is stuck in a very difficult position, the most difficult position that he's ever been in. And I look at the type of things they put him through with law and legal things. I think this is the most difficult one he's ever tackled.
Yeah, well, the threat could not be greater when you're dealing with Iranian terrorists who are also trying to kill him, as we know from recent threats that came out. So the stakes are so high, and it's an incredibly noble mission. You agree with me on that, right, Jerry? I mean, his goal was certainly a very noble one, and it still is by far, right?
Yeah, I think his goal is, and his intention, he's well-intentioned, and his goal is definitely one that, if he could achieve it, would be fantastic for the United States and most of the world. Not accepting them, of course, compared to what they're hoping for in Iran. I'm saying from the radical point of view there. But I don't know if everyone who was looking at Iran and what they decided to do from the beginning and through up till now, I don't know if there's been some mistakes in judgment made that in hindsight, there might have been different ways of doing this. And the negotiation with Iran, I almost feel like at this point that you stop negotiating with them and you just keep doing military actions until they really come to the table. But I don't even know if we have the stomach to do that, and I don't even know if that would work because, like you always say, they're so radical and they're so willing to die that I'm not so sure anything would work with them short of killing so many of them that it would be not acceptable to our society in America.
Well, so, and you, by the way, Jerry, you hit some very important points. You hit some great points because you're right. It is a very difficult decision. The one thing I think there shouldn't have been these breaks. On one hand, I give obviously the president a lot of kudos for patience and for keep saying, hey, we're waiting for them to come to the table. So the world sees exactly that these are people who won't come to the table, or at least haven't so far. And are not, I think, fair brokers. So I think that was an important message that he sent. On the other hand, I wish he had maybe continued. And I know that's something General Giacchino said, too, that he thinks that there were about 20 to 25% of the targets left when they stopped. And he thinks they should have just continued. And who knows what would have happened. I don't know if it would have been a different place than we are now. On the other hand, I also give the president a lot of credit for giving them the benefit of the doubt to try to come to the table and to try to do it as peacefully as possible. But clearly, he knows now who he is dealing with. He's given them every opportunity, and they still haven't taken it. And as you heard him even say, there was a deal, and they broke it. These people are scum. They're losers. He's used that kind of language. So you could tell his patience with them is definitely worn out. Obviously, he still would like a peaceful solution. But you're right. I think the next few weeks are going to be very bumpy, Jerry. But I still also really applaud his mission. It is a definitely noble one, and we have to all pray for its success because he's doing something much bigger than even for America. It's really for the world freedom. And don't count out Israel. See, I think Israel can also play a role with a lot of these things. I think Israel could maybe do some of the boots on the ground or some of the intel and some of the strategic strikes. They've been obviously enormously successful. I mean, so there's some great coordination. Who knows what the UAE and Bahrain and some of these other countries who are fed up with the way Iran's been attacking them. Maybe they'll start to play a bigger role. So there's a lot of things that can happen. Buckle up. I do think the next few weeks will be very, though, bumpy. Jerry, you got to call back again. Great points. And I see that one of our favorites ever, Norman, is here calling in from Brooklyn on line 4. Norman, how are you?
I'm getting better. Every day's a trip to the hospital, and every day tomorrow I see my hepatologist, and whatever. There's going to be an end. I'm not dying. I mean, at least that's not what they're telling me. So every day is a further and further to getting back to what I was. So I mean, not walking sucks. I mean, I'm walking, but I'm unsteady, to put it mildly. So, and anyway, casually thinking about what would put an end to this Iran thing.
Well, now before we go to that, I want to hear more about you. Now, are you at home? Or are you at the hospital? And can we do anything for you? Can we pray for you? What do you need?
What do I need? I need to just try to live my life as normally as I possibly can. And if you want to pray for me, it's fine. I do believe in God. And, everything's, it ain't what it was, but, I'm going to get back there. I dramatically went from 170 pounds. I was ripped. I was doing 305-pound full squats. So I weigh, my body weight when I got out of the hospital was 140 pounds. I looked like I stepped out of Auschwitz. But,
wow.
whatever. It is what it is, listen, I don't like when people call up and they talk about their health conditions and stuff. That's not the point.
No, but but I will say one thing, Norm. We love you.
Sure.
I
love you too.
Yeah, you're just you are such a special, great fighter, and you sound good. Like you sound, last time we talked to you, right. I know we talked real briefly the other day, but before that, it was a while. And you sound just as someone listening to you. You sound like you got more energy. You sound that you're getting your zest back and your fight back. Because America needs your fight, Norm.
I am. Yeah. So anyway, basically, casually, you want to end this thing in Iran? One word comes to my mind, and she's been sitting in a silo up in, somewhere up in the Dakotas, and her name is Trinity. You drop Trinity on Tehran, it's over. Now, what would this do to our position in the world? Oh, it would be horrible.
Right.
But I look at it this way. Japan vowed to never give up fighting. If we never would have done what we did in Hiroshima and Nagasaki, they never would have stopped. We were forced. The third ship was supposed to go to Kokura, but which is like that's like Tokyo. Okay, we would have done so much destruction upon them. We had to do the destruction. This is it's a horrible thing. I don't know. I'm just saying. Flippantly, this is what I say. She's sitting in a silo. She's been there since the late 50s. Go look online. Trinity. It's a very nice looking bomb.
But anyway, now, Norm, Norm, you realize obviously the world's a very different place than it was in World War II. We don't have boots on the ground, and we don't have other forces that are going in the ground at this point. Maybe the Kurds will step up or other. So there's a lot of layers to this. And you got all these great people there who are protesting against the regime, but you've got some very bad folks that are integrated within the group. So it does make it very complicated. I'm not for dropping a bomb on them, but I am for coming up with some creative way to end it.
Well, listen, I have faith in our president. I just don't know if this is going to work.
Yeah, but we got to pray. But we got to pray, right? We got to pray.
We got to pray. And, finally what I was going to say about the DSA, I know I'm skipping all over the place.
Yeah, go ahead.
Finally, what I was gonna,
we love you, Norm. Go ahead.
Thank you. Finally, what I was going to say about the DSA is that they work with slogans, logos. It's all about deception. There is no DSA. This is socialism. And they've been at it for hundreds of years. My own mother, for example, who was in the Women's Army Corps in World War II, my own mother was a socialist. In Austria, there was basically, it wasn't like the United States. And my own mother, she would, nostalgically sometimes sing some of these songs in German. The International, it's one of the most beautiful songs ever. That's like the communist, socialist.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I mean, it was written in French, but it's been translated into every language on earth, to include Yiddish, to include, this is not the Blob. They didn't just come here like, Steve McQueen, the Blob. They didn't just come here yesterday.
No, you're right. And by the way, Norm, you're right. They grew and they grew. And they're spreading. I describe it, like a cancer, that they are growing like weeds all over the place. And you're right. And also the Democratic Party had a lot of holes, had no direction, and they let it get taken over at this point. And now they don't know what to do with it. Norm, we got to go to a break, but you got to call back again soon. It's really great to hear from you, Norm. And you stay strong and great and fiery, because again, all the good fights, all the good missions, you're always there front row and center. All the protests, you are there. So I can't wait for you to be full steam ahead back, and you sound like you are getting better. So, Norm, give us a call soon, okay?
I shall.
Thank you, Norm. We love you so much. You stay on the great path you're on, and you sound better and stronger, and that means so much to all of us. Thanks, Norm, so much. And now, everybody, support our heroes.
The Rita Cosby Show presents Support Our Heroes.
And this is the Tunnel to Towers Foundation Support Our Heroes segment with a very powerful story from Iron Mountain, Michigan, where Vietnam veteran Gary Chapman was named Veteran of the Year in recognition of his decades of service to fellow veterans and the community. He served in the U.S. military for several years during the Vietnam War and afterwards joined the American Legion, where he became a dedicated leader and volunteer. Upon the recognition, he said, "There are so many good veterans here. I was just surprised that they picked me. There are a lot of good men and women in this area, and I'm just proud to be Veteran of the Year." Humble to the end, like so many great veterans are. And everybody, help America to never, ever forget all you have to do to make an incredible difference. And this is the best organization out there. Donate $11 a month to the incredible Tunnel to Towers Foundation. Be sure to check them out at T2T.org. That's T, the number 2, T.org.
The Rita Cosby Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. It's the Rita Cosby Show.
And let's go to Nick in Toronto. Line 4, go ahead, Nick.
Hey, Rita, how you doing?
Good. What do you think?
First of all, we all need to be like Poland.
I agree. You know, I'm half Polish, so what do you mean by that? But I can tell you why I think it.
I love Poland and the way the government runs the place, and we all should be like that.
Yeah, I agree. And listen, when I think of Poland, I think of people protecting borders. I think of people standing up. They have not backed away from going after Russia. They have stood strong by President Trump. They've also watched illegal immigration into their country. All I can say is I'm proud to be half Polish. We'll talk tomorrow night, guys.
Thanks for listening to The Rita Cosby Show. You can hear The Rita Cosby Show weeknights at 10 on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?